Hello everyone, welcome to our channel Biology Fun. In this video, we will talk about plant kingdom. Plant kingdom is said to be quite difficult chapter. It includes so many examples and students usually get confused in these examples. I will give you tricks to remember these examples. So this chapter is very important for your IP point of view, that is intermediate public examination, or you can say your board examinations, and for competitive examinations like your national level competitive examination NEET and state level competitive examinations like MSET. MSET is the competitive examination for in states like Telangana and Andhra Pradesh. Okay, so let's start with the video. As you know, we are talking about plant kingdom, means it will include plants. Plants are autotrophic. Autotrophic means they can produce their own food by the process called photosynthesis. So before talking about this big kingdom, let us first know how many kingdoms are there, and let's have a idea about all these kingdoms. So R.H. Whittaker in the year 1969, R.H. Whittaker in the year 1969 have given 5 kingdom classification. Other scientists have also given like 2 kingdom, 3 kingdom, 4 kingdom classification. This is to be discussed in biological classification. Biological classification is your second chapter according to NCERT. So if you want detailed videos of this chapter, please comment below. I will upload it soon. Talking about 5 kingdom classification. 5 kingdom classification includes Monera, Protista, fungi, plantae, and Animalia. R.H. Whittaker, he has classified organisms into these 5 kingdoms. So talking about Monera. The Monera is nothing but a prokaryotic group. Prokaryotes are nothing but those organisms in which nucleus is not well organized. It is not surrounded by nuclear membrane, and it also lacks membrane bound cell organelles. They only have 70 S ribosomes. This is about Monera. Monera usually include bacteria, actinomycetes, mycoplasma. So in bacteria also, Archaebacteria, Eubacteria. We'll discuss it in biological classification. Talking about Protista, fungi, plantae, Animalia. These remaining 4 kingdoms are eukaryotic. Eukaryotic are nothing but they have a well organized nucleus surrounded by nuclear membrane. They also have membrane bound cell organelles. They have 80 S ribosomes in cytoplasm. Okay, next talking about fungi, Protista, plantae, Animalia. So these are eukaryotes. What is Protista? Protista unicellular eukaryotic. Talking about fungi, the fungi are heterotrophic. Heterotrophic means they cannot produce their own food. They depend on plants for food or other organisms. The fungi are heterotrophic. They have cell wall, but this cell wall is made up of chitin. What is chitin? Chitin is the homopolysaccharide. We discuss in biomolecules. Talking about plantae, the plantae are nothing but plant kingdom. And Animalia are nothing but animal kingdom. So let us have a quick recap of these kingdoms. The Protista includes unicellular eukaryotes. They show different nutrition, like they show autotrophic, heterotrophic, saprophytic, etc. Autotrophic by your diatoms, dinoflagellates. What are diatoms and dinoflagellates? Diatoms are also called desmids. Diatoms also called desmids, and these diatoms, they are chief producers in oceans. They are chief producers in oceans. They do not have any more structures. They float passively on water currents. And talking about dinoflagellates, dinoflagellates are also autotrophic. They are of different colors, and they also show bioluminescence by noctiluca. And talking about your euglena, the euglena, this euglena is freshwater living. It performs both. It shows mixotrophic nutrition. Mixotrophic nutrition, it means it can perform photosynthesis, and it can also show heterotrophic nutrition by engulfing small tiny organisms in the absence of sunlight. In the presence of sunlight, they perform photosynthesis. Talking about saprophytic nutrition in Protista, it is shown by slime molds. So they show saprophytic nutrition. Talking about fungi, the fungi, they are heterotrophic. They have a cell wall. So that's why, according to Linnaeus two kingdom classification, they were kept along with plants. Why? Because they have cell wall. These all were kept in plants. According to Linnaeus two kingdom classification, they were kept in plants. All Monera, Protista, fungi, all they were kept in plantae. Okay, but now they are removed according to 5 kingdom R.H. Whitaker's classification. They are removed and kept in different kingdoms. So we will discuss detailed discussion will be in biological classification. If we want a quick video on this chapter, comment below. I will definitely reply to your comment and make a quick video on biological classification. Okay, now talking about plantae, the plants are autotrophic, means they can produce their own food, and all heterotrophs depends on plants for their food. Plants, yes, some are heterotrophic, that too partially heterotrophic. Partially heterotrophic is nothing but they only depend for some needs, like they only depend for like nitrogen. That's why the plants like Nepenthes, Venus flytrap also called, Dionia, bladderwort, Utricularia, these are partially heterotrophic plants. They engulf insects for nitrogen requirement. So that's why they grow in nitrogen deficient areas. And talking about their cell wall, is made up of cellulose. So this is all about biological classification. Don't worry if you are able to understand or not. I will discuss it in detail, and there you will definitely understand properly. So talking about Animalia is nothing but animal kingdom. In animal kingdom we will discuss this in detail. So this Animalia is heterotrophic, means they cannot prepare their own food, they depend on plants for their food. And they can be they can be multicellular. They have tissues, they have cells, they have organs, they have organ systems. And these Animalia, they do not have cell wall. Cell wall is absent in Animalia. Okay, so I have given a brief review. If you want to learn, just comment below. I will upload the video as soon as possible. Okay, talking about plant kingdom, the plant kingdom is popularly known as kingdom Plantae is popularly known as plant kingdom. So before the R.H. Whitaker's 5 kingdom classification, many things were discovered. So a bacteria called the cyanobacteria, it was given the name blue green algae, but it is not an algae. It is not an algae. Why it is not algae? Because it is a prokaryote. It is unicellular. So that's why cyanobacteria, they are bacteria, they are not algae. It's a misnomer, means wrong name. Okay, so let us look at the classification within angiosperms to understand the concerns about that influence the classification system. So classification system, how it got advanced, let's see. So earliest classification, when it just began, the scientists were only using the gross superficial morphological characters, is the only external appearance, like how it looks, it is a shrub or herb or a tree, that is habit. They were considering only habit, and color, number and shape of leaves. So they were just considering the external features, like the habit, that tree, shrub, herb, or they are how many leaves they have, shape of the leaves. According to that, they were classifying the plants. Within angiosperms we are discussing. So it was just based on vegetative characters. Vegetative characters means it was just based on the parts of the plant, like the leaves, stem, shoot, root, or the androecium structure. Androecium is the male part of the flower, androecium. So this type of classification is known as artificial system of classification, that only uses the vegetative characters, or you can say superficial morphological characters. It was given by Linnaeus. Linnaeus is the great scientist. He has done so many experiments and classifications in taxonomy, and he is also called father of taxonomy. But modern father of taxonomy is your Julius Huxley. Modern taxonomy, father of modern taxonomy is Julius Huxley. Okay, so that's a bit extra information, not required, but so such type of classification is called artificial system, that separated closely related species. They were based on few characteristics that included only vegetative and sexual characteristics with equal weightage. So this artificial system of classification, it was just considering the vegetative characters, it was just considering the superficial characters, morphological characters. Because of that, many closely related species of plants were getting separated, and they were giving equal weightage to vegetative as well as sexual characters, equal weightage. And one thing is that the vegetative characters, they usually easily get affected by environment. They easily get affected by environment. That's why this classification system was not appropriate. So later on, some new classification systems came, and it is natural classification system. It was given by George Bentham and Joseph Dalton Hooker. So you don't scare by listening the name, just remember Bentham and Hooker. They gave natural system of classification. Natural system of classification is the most is the convenient one. So artificial system of classification, it was having so many drawbacks. Because of this type of classification, many closely related species were getting separated, and it was based on few characters. Later on, a more advanced classification came, that is called natural system. It was given by George Bentham and Joseph Dalton Hooker. You don't have to remember all the full names. Remember Bentham and Hooker, they gave natural system of classification. Okay, so the natural system of natural classification system, it was based on natural affinities. Natural affinities, they do not change with change in environment, as vegetative characters were changing by changing environment, but natural affinities do not change with external environment. Okay, It is based on natural affinities among organisms, and it also included external features. And not only external features, they also included internal features. What are the internal features? Like ultrastructure, anatomy, embryology. So they were including all these features: anatomy, embryology, and phytochemistry, and phytochemistry, and phytochemistry. The phytochemistry, embryology, anatomy, ultrastructure, these were all used in natural system of classification. I hope you understood. So let's okay, talking about phylogenetic system of classification. Phylogenetic system of classification, it is based on evolutionary relationships. Evolutionary relationships. So it is based on evolutionary relationships. What are evolutionary relationships? It is based on ancestor. Based on ancestors. It means that the organisms that are in same taxa, they have a common ancestor. So this phylogenetic classification system, it assumes that the organisms that belong to the same taxa, they have a common ancestor. So it was based on evolutionary relationships. Now, talking about numerical taxonomy, the numerical taxonomy is easily carried out using computers. So this is a 2 marks question for your IP examination, and it is really important. So you must learn this answer. So let me explain. In numerical taxonomy, it is also called phonetics. It is also called phonetics. PHENETICS. It is also called phonetics. 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 Just check out the spelling. This is the spelling, PHE. So phonetics. So it is also, numerical taxonomy is also called phonetics. It is now easily carried out using computers. So what happens? There are so many characters, and if we take more characters, data will be more accurate. So for that we use numerical taxonomy. So we take many characters, and these characters are given codes, or you can say numbers, codes or numbers. So these are given codes or numbers, and according to this codes and numbers, the characters are then easily calculated by computers. So it is very easy to resolve the difficulties in classification. So if you are using so many characters, it will be quite difficult to include all the characters and give equal importance to all the characters. But by using the computers, it is very easy to give them equal importance, and at the same time you can consider hundreds, thousands of characters. Okay, it become easy, and also many characters are included by using numerical taxonomy. Once again I will repeat, numerical taxonomy is also called phonetics. What you have to write in your exam: numerical taxonomy is also called phonetics, PHE, also called phonetics. So numerical taxonomy is also called phonetics. It is easily carried out using computers. Okay, and the characters, all the observable characters are given codes or numbers, and at the same time thousands and hundreds of characters can be considered, and each character is given equal importance. Okay, so by using computers, it is easy to resolve difficulties in classification, and you can use the information from different sources too. And so numerical taxonomy is also called phonetics, which now easily carried out using computers. Now all observable characters, it is now easy to resolve difficulties in classification. The information is taken from other sources too. In this way, each character is given equal importance, and at the same time hundreds of characters are calculated. So what happens here, many characters are there, see, so many characters are there. So for each character they give a code or they give a number, and according to that code they consider all the characters and they calculate using computers, so that it is easy to include all the characters and give equal weightage to these characters. Now talking about cytotaxonomy, cyto means cell, and what is most important inside the cell, this chromosome. So here we use chromosome number, structure and behavior. Chromosome number means how many chromosomes are there in that particular organism, what is the structure of the chromosome. Like in cell you will learn different shapes, L shape, T shape chromosomes during your metaphase stage, and behavior. So the cytotaxonomy is based on these features. Now talking about chemotaxonomy. The chemotaxonomy, chemo means chemical. So this taxonomy includes chemical constituents of the plant to resolve what? Confusions. To resolve confusions, we use chemical constituents, so it is called chemotaxonomy. In chemotaxonomy, to classify the organisms, the taxonomist means the scientist that deals with taxonomy are called taxonomist. They use chemical constituents of the plant to resolve the confusions, difficulties in classifying the organisms. Sometimes what happens, some evolutionary relationships, they need some ancestral evidence, but sometimes it is not available, so they go for cytotaxonomy or chemotaxonomy, just like that. Okay, I think you are understanding. You can learn this. I will provide this notes to you on our Telegram channel, so I will give the link of the Telegram channel in the description and also in the chat box. Okay, comment box, sorry. Talking about plant kingdom. So in plant kingdom you will see this plant kingdom is divided into 5 groups: algae, bryophyta, pteridophyta, gymnosperms and angiosperms. Okay, so this is divided into 5 types, and we will discuss each type in very detail. So talking about algae, so let us discuss general characters of algae. General features of algae. So what are the general features of algae? General features of algae. So algae are chlorophyll bearing, they are green color, they perform photosynthesis, they have chlorophyll. Okay, they are simple thalloid. So what is the meaning of thalloid? Usually students get confused in this term. What is thalloid? So this thalloid meaning is that thalloid means the plant body is not differentiated into leaf, stem, shoot. So the plant body is not divided into leaf, stem, shoot. So the plant body is not divided into these structures. It is without these structures. So it is not divided into leaf, stem, roots, shoots. So it is called thalloid body. Okay, now talking about what is autotrophic, means they can produce their own food by photosynthesis by using simple inorganic substances like your water, minerals or nutrients from soil, and by in the presence of chlorophyll, and the most important, sunlight. Okay, now let us talk about their habitat, where they live. They are largely aquatic, and they are both fresh water as well as marine water. Okay, now some algae occur in association with fungi. Some algae they live in associations with what? With fungi. So this association is called lichens. They are called lichens. And talking about association with animals, so some algae live in association with animals such as sloth bear. On sloth bear there are some algae surviving. So that is there. So now talking about the reproduction, how do they reproduce? So they reproduce asexually. How they reproduce? They reproduce asexually by zoospores. So they have zoospores. Zoospores are flagellated motile spores, and when these spores germinate, they form new plants. When these spores germinate, they form new plants. When these spores germinate, they form new plants. Okay, they form new plants. This is a sexual reproduction. The most common one is zoospores. The most common one is zoospores. Now talking about vegetative reproduction, the vegetative reproduction takes place by fragmentation. What is fragmentation? Let us understand. So most of the students, they don't have that basic clarity. What is fragmentation? The fragmentation is nothing but when an organism's body is cut accidentally, or anything is cut into various parts, then what happens? Each fragment, it develops into a new individual. Okay, this is called fragmentation. So here when an algal body is break down into fragments, then each fragment will develop into thallus, because algal body is called thallus, and this thallus is not differentiated into leaf, stem and root. Okay, already said. Alright, now talking about sexual reproduction. How it takes place? Sexual reproduction takes place by fusion of two gametes. So whether the gametes are from the same parent or from two different parents, it does not matter, but there should be fusion of gametes, then only it will call sexual reproduction. Now in algae, sexual reproduction takes place by various modes, like isogametes. The isogametes are there. The isogametes, iso means same. So isogametes are similar type of gametes, similar in size, similar in shape. They look alike. You cannot differentiate between the two different gametes. So they are called isogametes. These isogametes, they are similar in size, similar in shape, and if they are motile means they have flagella. So if they are motile, they are called motile isogametes. Example, it is found in Ulothrix. Ulothrix is a algae in which isogametes are there, and these gametes are motile because they have flagella. Okay, non-motile isogametes are seen in Spirogyra. You have to remember this because it is very, very important. Usually in competitive examinations, it is asked isogametes, flagellated motile isogametes, Ulothrix, non-flagellated means non-motile isogametes, that is Spirogyra. So you need to remember these examples. Isogametes, iso means same type of gametes. If they are motile, they are flagellated. If flagella is there, they are motile. See, if flagella is there, they can move, so they are called motile. So if they are motile, they are called motile flagellated isogametes. and if they do not have flagella, they are called non-motile isogametes. Example in Spirogyra. So Spirogyra is non-motile, means non-flagellated, and Ulothrix is motile, means flagellated. I hope you understood this. Okay. So isogametes, Ulothrix and Spirogyra. Motile one is Ulothrix, non-motile one is Spirogyra. So remember this. This is very, very important. Now talking about anisogamous. So anisogamous is also a mode of sexual reproduction in algae. Aniso means not similar, dissimilar. So dissimilar gametes are there. Example here, Eudorina. Eudorina is having dissimilar gametes. So in anisogamous, the fusion of dissimilar gametes takes place. Example is Eudorina. Eudorina is a algae. Which algae? It is brown algae. Okay. Now talking about oogamous. Talking about oogamous. So oogamous, fusion of one large non-motile static female gamete. So the female gamete is large. It do not have flagella. It means it is non-motile. It is static. It cannot move, means it is static. So this female gamete is non-motile. It do not have flagella. And the male gamete, this male gamete is motile, and it is small, and it is motile. It means it has flagella. So in this oogamous, the female gamete is large, it is non-motile, do not have flagella, and male gamete is motile and have flagella. Example, volvox and fucus. Remember these examples: anisogamous, ectocarpus, eugamous, volvox, fucus. And isogamous is your Ulothrix and Spirogyra. Okay, remember these examples, very, very important. Now talking about economic importance of algae. So algae, they are useful to man in a variety of ways. They are useful to us in a variety of ways. At least half of the total carbon dioxide fixation of Earth is carried out by algae through photosynthesis. How much I am saying? Half, at least half. And what it is? Carbon dioxide fixation. I am not talking about oxygen release. I am talking about carbon dioxide fixation. Fixation in the sense how much carbon dioxide is converted into food, or you can say carbohydrates. So at least half of the carbon dioxide fixation on Earth is carried out by your algae. By what? Photosynthesis. So being photosynthetic, yes, they are photosynthetic, and after photosynthesis they release dissolved oxygen into the immediate environment. So usually they are aquatic, so they release dissolved oxygen in water, and this oxygen is useful for the aquatic animals to survive. Okay, now talking about algae, the algae, they are of very importance, paramount importance. They are used as primary producers of energy rich compounds. So these algae form primary producers, and they form very energy rich compounds, food items for the aquatic animals. So as they are primary producers, they form the basis, means they are producers of the aquatic food chains. Okay, now let us talk about many species of Porphyra. Porphyra is a red algae. Laminaria is a brown algae. Sargassum is also brown algae. So these two are brown algae, and this is red algae. I will say you what is brown, red. Okay, the Porphyra, Laminaria and Sargassum, they are among 70 species of marine algae used as food. 70 species. So there are many species of marine algae used as food, but many species are from Porphyra, Laminaria and Sargassum that used as food for human consumption. And why we consume this? Because they are having good source of proteins and all other important nutrients that we don't get from land plants, so we consume this marine algae. Certain marine brown red algae produce large amounts of hydrocolloids. Hydrocolloids are nothing but water holding substances. Like if something is there, this suppose I have a brown algae, it can hold the water, so they are called hydrocolloids. They are called hydrocolloids, means they can hold the water, they do not leak the water from them, they hold the water. Why? Because they have some water holding substances called hydrocolloids in their cell wall. Example, you get algin from brown algae and carrageen from red algae. Remember this is very important for your multiple choice question asked in your competitive examinations like NEET and EAMCET. So algin is produced from your brown algae and carrageen for red algae. How to remember? Okay, I will give you a simple trick. So how to remember? Algin is brown algae. Okay, so you usually get confusion like algin is red algae or brown algae. From which algae we get algin? So we get algin from brown algae. Okay, so you remember anyone, you won't get confusion. See, carrageen. In carrageen you can see you are getting 2 R. So carrageen means red algae because you are getting 2 R in carrageen. So carrageen is obtained from red algae and algin is obtained from your brown algae. Okay, next let us discuss what are the different classes of algae, how they are classified. Okay, so algae are classified into 3 classes. They are classified into 3 classes. What are the 3 classes? Chlorophyceae, Phaeophyceae and Rhodophyceae. So what is Chlorophyceae? Chlorophyceae is green algae. Like that only, Phaeophyceae is your brown algae, Rhodophyceae is your red algae. So there are different algae. How we have classified them into 3 classes? How? Based on the presence of the pigments and also based on the stored food. We have classified algae into 3 classes, that is Chlorophyceae, that is green algae, and Phaeophyceae and Rhodophyceae, that is red algae. So I will discuss this in detail. So we'll complete the algae portion in this video. So the plant body, means the algal body, is unicellular, or it can be colonial, or it can be filamentous. So remember the examples. Unicellular green algae are chlorella, unicellular green algae. Also spirulina, this is also a unicellular green algae. Colonial green algae is asked in your examination. By showing this diagram, they will ask you. So look at this diagram carefully. This diagram is of Volvox. The Volvox is your colonial algae. Don't worry, I have mentioned these examples in the further slides. So this is the picture of Volvox. This I have taken from NCERT. It is also available in your Telugu Academy textbook and also in NCERT, so you can check it out. Volvox. Okay, the Volvox is your green algae. It lives in colonies. You can see 3 colonies, 4 colonies, like this. They live in colonies. They form a colony. They do not live individually. They live in colonies. Okay. Next is filamentous. So what are the filamentous form? The filamentous, this is your Ulothrix. Ulothrix are the filamentous forms. They are what? Filamentous. See, you can see they are in the form of filament. So Ulothrix is the filamentous form. Okay. Now what are the pigments present in your algae. So remember, the pigments in this chapter is very important. Pigments in algae part is very important. Pigments and stored food, and many questions are framed in this for your board exams and for your competitive examinations. So in green algae, chlorophyll A and chlorophyll B are there. These are very similar to your pigments present in higher plants. So chlorophyll A and B are very important pigments. These are present in your green algae, chlorophyll. See, I have made it with green color, chlorophyll. Remember, chloro means what? Green. So remember, chloro means green. You have to remember certain terminologies, it will always help you. The chlorophyll means green. Chlorophyll means green. Okay. So chlorophyll, that is a green color pigment. It is present in your plants and also in your algae. So there are different types of chlorophyll. We have basically chlorophyll A, B in chlorophyll, and AC in brown algae, and AD in your red algae. So these pigments, they are localized in a definite chloroplast. So these pigments are not present everywhere in the cell. They are present in a specific cell organelle, that is chloroplast, and in this chloroplast, this chlorophyll pigments are present in the, more specifically in the, suppose this is the chloroplast. In the chloroplast, there is structures like this called thylakoids, and if they are present in bundles, they are called granathylakoids. And these thylakoids, granathylakoids, chlorophyll is present, A and B is present in algae, and also same in plants, but the pigment is quite here, chlorophyll A, B, and plants also have different types of pigments. Now coming to the further in chlorophyll, the chloroplasts are of different shapes. The chloroplasts are of different shapes. What are the different shapes? They can be discoid. Discoid is nothing but disc shape, plate like, reticulate, cup shape in your chlamydomonas. You can remember chlamydomonas, cup shape, spiral shape or ribbon shape also present in different green algae. The pyrenoids are located in chloroplast. So what are pyrenoids? I will explain this. So pyrenoids are nothing but they are storage bodies. What they are? They are storage bodies. Remember, pyrenoids are storage bodies. Pyrenoids are storage bodies. So pyrenoids are what? They are storage bodies. They store food materials. What type of food material? They store proteins. See, pyrenoids are proteinaceous center. This, suppose this is pyrenoids, it stores proteins, and they are surrounded by starch. They are made up of starch and they store proteins. So they store proteins. These are proteins, but they are surrounded by starchy layer. Okay, they are surrounded by starchy layer. Okay, now this, where these pyrenoids are present, they are located in chloroplast. In chloroplast, pyrenoids are present. They store proteins and they are surrounded by starch. Okay, now green algae, this green algae, they have rigid cell wall. So green algae have rigid cell wall. Green algae have rigid cell wall. Green algae have rigid cell wall. Inner layer is of cellulose. So see here, in green algae, the outer layer is pectose, and the inner layer is cellulosic. Outer layer is pectose. I am drawing with a different color. Okay, suppose this is the pectin. This is your pectin. And the inner layer is of your cellulose. This is your pectose, and this is your cellulose. So this is the cell wall of your green algae. Outer is pectose and inner is cellulose. All right. So next, how they reproduce vegetatively? So vegetatively they reproduce by fragmentation. Vegetatively they reproduce by fragmentation, and as I already explained you what is fragmentation. Fragmentation means if their body is cut accidentally or anyhow cut into small fragments, each fragment develops into a new individual, okay, a new thalli, okay. Or by vegetative reproduction takes place by fragmentation or by formation of different types of spores, okay. Let's see. Asexual reproduction, how they reproduce asexually. So they reproduce asexually by so they reproduce asexually by bioflagellated spores. Bioflagellated spores, okay. These bioflagellated means having two flagella, where the two flagella are present on the apical part. Suppose this is a green algae, its body is not differentiated into leaves, roots and shoots, so I will cut its body as thalli. So it is having two flagella. And apical flagella, apical means on the apex at the top, the two flagella, okay. So they are called biflagellated zoospores. These zoospores, they have two flagella on the apical part, and these spores are produced in zoosporangia, okay. Let's talk about sexual reproduction. Sexual reproduction takes place by isogamous and isogamous oogamous. They show considerable variation. Different types are there in this, like isogamous, same types of gametes, and different types of gametes. Oogamous, female gamete is large, non-motile, and male gamete is small and motile. So this is sexual reproduction. Now I already said you in detail, right? Now let us go to the common examples of your green algae. So what are the common examples of your green algae? The common examples are Chlamydomonas. This is a unicellular one. So the Chlamydomonas, they are unicellular, okay. The Volvox shows oogamous reproduction, right? Spirogyra isogametes are there, and these are non-flagellated, means non-motile. Remember this, Spirogyra isogametes, it's a non-motile, okay. Ulothrix, it is isogametes motile, and Chara is multicellular green algae, okay. Hope you understood all this about green algae. Let us now talk about our next brown algae. The brown algae is also called Phaeophyceae. The Phaeophyceae, how to remember? Chloro means I have said that chlorophyll, it's a green color pigment, so you will remember. What about Phaeophyceae? Phaeophyceae is nothing but a brown algae. See, primarily they are found in marine habitat. Where they are found? They are found in marine habitat, salty areas like your oceans, seas. There they show great variation in size and form. Like if you talk about Ectocarpus, this Ectocarpus is a brown algae. It is very simply branched filamentous. It is simple and no filamentous, and very less branches are there. But if you talk about kelps, they are of 100 meters, They spread to 100 meters and they are profusely branched, highly branched. They are kelps. So kelps are what? Brown algae. Okay, now talking about pigments. So remember, pigments and stored food is very important in algae. So this is stored food, and this is pigment. So pigments are chlorophyll A and C, carotenoids and xanthophylls. So remember, xantho is for brown, is for brown color. Xanthophyll is for brown color. Carotene means orange color. Carrot is orange, right? So remember, carotenoids means orange color. Xanthophylls means brown color. So in plant physiology, photosynthesis will remember the different colored names, like carotenoids is carrot color, orange color. Okay, xanthophylls is nothing but your brown color. And you have to remember that in chlorophyce we have used chlorophyll A, B, and in brown algae we are using AC, and in red algae AD. So you can remember like this: AB, then AC. Chlorophyll A will be in all algae, but second one B, C, D, like that. Okay, they vary in color. From olive green. Olive green is nothing but a shade of green color, to various shades of brown, depending on the amount of xanthophyll fucoxanthin present. So depending on the amount of xanthophyll and fucoxanthin present, fucoxanthin is nothing but a pigment that is responsible for brown color of Phaeophyce. Okay, they vary in color from olive green to various shades of brown. So various shades of brown are there. What are the various shades of brown? Various shades of brown are olive green to various shades of brown, depending on what? Depending on the presence of xanthophyll and fucoxanthin present. Okay, depending on the amount of xanthophyll pigment and fucoxanthin pigment, the colors vary from olive green to different shades of brown. Okay, now then next, food is stored as complex carbohydrates. Food is stored as complex carbohydrates which vary from food is stored as complex carbohydrates that are laminarin and mannitol. So you have to remember this. The food stored in brown algae is laminarin and mannitol. One fact I want to say, that this laminarin and mannitol are the complex carbohydrates, and in brown algae we have a brown alga name called laminaria. So laminaria is a brown algae. And this laminaria brown algae, is a brown algae, and the stored food in brown algae is laminarin and mannitol. So from the example you can remember laminarin or mannitol. This is very very important, that the stored food material is complex carbohydrate, that is laminarin or mannitol. Okay, next, the vegetative cells have a cellulosic wall. The vegetative cell, they have a cellulosic wall usually covered at the outside by a gelatinous of algin. So one thing, see here. So suppose this is algin, outer layer. Okay, this is algin and inner is cellulosic wall. And outer is algin. outer is algin and inner is cellulosic wall. So this outer is nothing but your algin, is your algin, okay, algin, and inner is your cellulose. I hope you understood. So inner is cellulose, outer is algin. Now talking about the plant body, so this plant body is attached to the substratum. Substratum may be rock or soil, so to the substratum the algal body is attached by what? By a structure. The structure is called holdfast. This structure is called holdfast, to hold the substratum, to hold the rock or soil, that is holdfast. And other is stipe. Stipe is nothing but stalk like. This is stipe, this is stalk like stipe. And there is a leaf like structure called photosynthetic organ called frond. The frond is a leaf like structure. So there is a holdfast, and this is a stipe, and a leaf like structure called frond. So there's a diagram in your book, in NCERT as well as in your Telugu Academy book. You can just check it out. No. So you have to remember one thing: pigments. Pigments you have to remember, and you have to remember the stored food and the differentiation of the plant body into simple structures like holdfast type and leaf like photosynthetic structures. Okay, frond. Now talking about how they reproduce vegetatively. So vegetatively they reproduce by fragmentation. So vegetatively how they reproduce? By fragmentation. Asexual reproduction. Asexual reproduction is by asexual reproduction is by pyriform. Pyriform is pear shaped. Pyriform is nothing but your pear shape spores. So these pear shaped spores are biflagellate, and here the flagella are lateral. This is lateral flagella. But in you have seen in chlorophyceae the flagella are apical, means at the top like this, but here in phaeophyceae they are lateral. Okay, this is called lateral. Okay, sexual reproduction is by isogamous, oogamous, so it can be by either ways. A union of gametes may take place in water or within the oogonium. Oogonium is the structure in which union of gametes can take place. Gametes are pear shaped, that is pyriform, and bear laterally attached to flagella. The flagella are laterally attached, remember this, whereas in chlorophyceae they are apical. Okay, the common forms of brown algae, they are ectocarpus. One thing you need to remember, we will discuss it in life cycles. So ectocarpus is haplodiplontic. You have to remember this anyhow. Ectocarpus is haplodiplontic. Haplontic stage is there and diplontic stage is there. Okay, whereas your fucus is diplontic. Algae should be haplontic, but this fucus is diplontic, and ectocarpus is haplodiplontic. Dictyota laminaria. So I have said you that in brown algae there is a brown algal member called laminaria is there, and brown algae have algin, laminaria, sargassum, dictyota. Okay, next let's discuss next. about red algae, also called rhodophyceae. Red algae is also called rhodophyceae. So red algae is also called rhodophyceae. Red algae is also called rhodophyceae. So red algae is also called rhodophyceae. Rhodophyceae is also called red algae because they are red in their shade, red in color. Okay, now talking about their habitat, the majority of the red algae, they are marine. What are the majority red algae? They are marine, same as brown algae, and the greater concentrations found in warmer areas, and in the oceans the deepest are red algae. In the oceans the deepest are red algae. Red algae, the first red algae, they are very deep in the ocean, they are found at a very high depth in the ocean. Then brown algae, then green algae. So remember this, deepest one is the red algae. Red algae deepest one, and it lives in marine water, and the too warm water. Red algae, then here brown algae, and here green algae also. The first at the top surface it will be green algae at the surface of water, then at middle brown algae, and the deep it will be red algae. Several heights below the sea will be your red algae. Talking about their forms, the red algae are multicellular. Some of them have complex body organization. The food is stored as Floridian starch. See, the food is stored as Floridian starch. Food is stored as Floridian starch. So you have to remember the stored food and the pigment. These are very, very important. The pigment is very important and the stored food is very important. So it is very similar to amylopectin and glycogen in structure. So the Floridian starch structure is similar to amylopectin and glycogen. This amylopectin and glycogen are complex polysaccharides. So this Floridian starch resembles this amylopectin and glycogen. This is very important for your NEET and EAMCET examination. The Floridian starch resembles amylopectin and glycogen. So the red algae usually reproduce vegetatively by fragmentation, same as brown algae, green algae, all algae vegetatively by fragmentation, asexually by non-motile spores. A very, very important point in red algae is they do not have motile spores or motile gametes. They lack flagella. Listen once again, they lack flagella. They have non-motile spores. And how they reproduce sexually? By non-motile gametes. By how? Non-motile. See, I'm again and again stressing the word. They lack flagella. They are non-motile. So they have non-motile spores. They have non-motile gametes. They show sexual reproduction through oogamous. Oogamous. It is accomplished by complex post-fertilization development. Okay, next, the common members are, you have to remember, I said I will give you a trick. So here the trick goes: Polysiphonia, Porphyra, Gelidium, Gracilaria, PPGG. Only the algal members which starts from P and G are only there in red algae. So in red algae the examples are only from P and G. So if I say you Sargassum belong to red algae, you will say no, because S, no. Polysiphonia, yes. Porphyra, yes. Gelidium, yes. Gracilaria, sorry, here Gelidium typed it twice. Nobody. We will write another example. Gracilaria. So Gracilaria is your red algae. So the examples that start from P, G that is Polysiphonia, Porphyra, they start from P. Gracilaria and Gelidium. Gelidium typed it twice. Okay, don't worry. Gelidium and Gracilaria. Okay, Gracilaria, they start from G. So remember, the examples from P and G belong to red algae, and for brown algae you have to remember one trick called flets. What is the trick? Flets. FLEDS. This is a very very useful trick. You will remember all the examples of your brown algae. F for your fucus, it's very important. L for laminaria. E for your ectocarpus. D for dictyota. S for sargassum. Please go through the diagrams that are given in NCERT and also in your Telugu Academy textbook. Both are same only. So FLEDS, floods. So this is a very useful trick. You can remember, like floods, like that only. Remove O, add E, floods. So floods is our trick to remember the examples of brown algae. F for your fucus, L for laminaria, E for ectocarpus, D for dictyota, and S for sargassum. Okay, I hope you understood. Okay, next, green algae. How to remember the examples of green algae? So you have to remember a simple mnemonic. CUC means Chlamydomonas chara. U for Ulothrix. SV or VS. SV. CUC SV. Okay, CUC SV. CUC SV. You can remember like this: Chlamydomonas, Volvox, Spirogyra, Ulothrix, chara. I said that Chlamydomonas unicellular, chara multicellular, Volvox oogamous, Spirogyra isogamous, but to non-motile. Ulothrix isogamous. Okay, the pigments you have to remember. One thing I want to say, I want to show this in tabular form, but no worries. I will show you this way. The pigments present in your green algae are chlorophyll A, B. Okay, chlorophyll A and B. Where did I mention that? Chlorophyll A and B. Yeah, here I mentioned chlorophyll A and B. Chlorophyll A and B are the pigments present in your chlorophyll. That's why they are green in color. And do not forget these diagrams. These diagrams are very 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 important. This is Volvox and this is your filamentous Ulothrix. Okay, so we have completed algae successfully. Once I want to say the point that you should remember at any cost till the end of your examinations. One thing you have to remember, that algae are divided into 3 classes: Chlorophyceae, Phaeophyceae and Rhodophyceae. You have to remember this. And the pigments present in Chlorophyceae: chlorophyll A and B. AB, chlorophyll A, B. And these are present in your chloroplast. And colonial forms are Volvox, filamentous forms are Ulothrix, unicellular Chlamydomonas, multicellular chara. Okay, chara or kara, how you want to pronounce, you can pronounce your wish. And isogametes are in Ulothrix. There are motile, means they have flagella. Spirogyra non-motile isogametes. Okay, the next thing is zoospores are the most common spores that we have to remember. Okay, and the next thing is anisogamous, that is Eudorina, fusion of dissimilar gametes. Volvox, fucus, oogamous. And in next, first we will see all algae, then economic importance. Okay, and outer one is your outer one is your pectin in chlorophyce, and inner one is your cellulose. Similarly, in your brown algae, outer one is your algin, and inner one is your cellulose. Similarly, in your red algae, outer one is your carrageen and inner one is your cellulose. Alright, next we'll see the vegetative reproduction, common fragmentation. It is common, okay, and asexual reproduction by spores. Next, Phaeophyce is nothing but your brown algae. Chlorophyll A and C, carotenoids and xanthophylls. I said the word xantho is used for brown color pigmentation. Carotenoids is orange color pigmentation, but they vary in different shapes depending on the presence of this fucoxanthin and xanthophyll pigment. Stored food material is laminarin and mannitol. And this I have said, outer one is algin, inner one is cellulose. Okay, next, hold fast all that you have to remember. Fragmentation, and the trick to remember this is, again I am repeating, do not forget this, that is FLEDS. This way I remember. If you want, you can remember by using this tricks. Next we will do so I have given you all tricks and tips to remember the examples. Let's in red algae you have to remember the pigments. Here the pigment is let me say the pigment here is phycoerythrin. If I have missed, please note down phycoerythrin. The pigment is phycoerythrin. Phycoerythrin pigment is a very important pigment, for it gives red color. See, the term erythrin, like you have heard this term, like erythrocytes, red blood cells. Erythro refers for red color. I'm writing with red, yes. So erythro term refers for your red color. So remember this, red color is for your erythro word. The term erythro means red. So rhodophyce are for red, are for rhodophyce, and you have to remember. And the examples are PPGG, Porphyra, Policifolia, Gracilaria, Gelidium. And the stored food, Freudian starch, and also your Freudian starch resembles to what? Amylopectin and glycogen in structure. I think you have understood. And another most important in brown algae is they have non-motile spores, non-motile gametes. You have to remember this. Okay, so I think you understood everything. And one more thing in economic importance, I want to say that the Gelidium and Gracilaria are what? The Gelidium and Gracilaria are red algae, because I have given PPGG. So Gelidium and Gracilaria, and from this you can get what? You can get you can get what? You can get agar-agar. So agar-agar is one of the commercial products obtained from Gelidium. So agar-agar is one of the commercial product obtained from Gelidium and Gracilaria. These are nothing but your red algae. So these agar-agar obtained from Gelidium and Gracilaria, they are used in making your ice creams and jellies. So whatever ice creams and jellies you eat, there also algae product is there, that is agar. Is a hydrocolloid, yes. And chlorella and spirulina, these are unicellular algae. Chlorella and spirulina, these are used as space food. This is a very very important question. Chlorella and spirulina, they are used as food supplements by space travelers. So space travelers use which unicellular algae as food supplements? So that is chlorella, or in options it is not there, you can choose spirulina also. Both are unicellular. The algae are divided into three main classes, as we have seen, that is based on pigment and stored food. So many species of Porphyria laminaria among 70 species of marine algae used as food. Okay, so let's end here.